Beautiful. Hey, I felt that when you said I don't bullshit about giving flowers. I don't, but you know who deserves it? The entire House of Poets team, y'all. Give it up for them. I'm gonna do some poems. I'm gonna do some old shit, some new shit. It'll be fun, I promise. I hope. I'm gonna try my best. This is my first time not only performing in Philly, it's my first time in Philly. So before I get started, y'all, can someone for the life of me please tell me what the fuck a John is? Nah, because the dude at the airport was like, you know, it's like a John, and I'm like, all right, bro, fuck off, bro. Anything but a man. Okay, so it's anything. I'm not gonna take it. I'm not one of those people, but I was just very intrigued. Anytime I travel, I like to learn a little bit about each place. And I also like to share a little bit of myself as well, which I'm going to do. But in order for me to do that, I'm a very high energy performer, so I need all of your energy back. If you can do that, let me get a hell yeah. There's a couple ways you can show that, right? You can give a little snaps, right? Snaps are cool. That's real traditional. You can give some claps, some stomps, turn this place into a step team. You can get vocal. You can say, Poetry is a lot like sex. It's real awkward if, like, everyone is quiet, right? Like, it's happening, it's cool, it's consensual, but, like, it could be better, right? So don't make this a weird experience for us, all right? Wonderful. We're going to test it out, though. We're gonna try something. I'm going to say a line, and you're going to pretend like you just heard the dopest line you've heard in your entire life. Like, it changed the world. Are you ready? 5'4" is not that short. All right, we're going to try it again. Someone said run it back. I want you to get even crazier, though. You ready? 5'4" is not that short. All right. I think we're ready. I'm going to share some secrets with y'all, right? Some very intimate stuff. And I feel like this is the space to do that. So just like we did there, I'm going to need y'all to go crazy for this first line, okay? I used to swallow this dude, right? I thought we were going crazy. What the fuck happened? I thought we were going crazy. No, we're going to run it back. I used to swallow this dude. Try again. It's always the J names too, right? J names will ruin your fucking life. They really will. No offense. I know we got some J names in here. All the Johns will ruin your life. They really will. I used to swallow this dude, right? His name was Jack, and he was a hoe. Friends with everybody, but rightfully so. He had a dope style. He's a real smooth, old-fashioned type of dude. You know, all the guys and girls wanted to shot with Jack. They used to chase him around with smiles. But see, me and him, we were inseparable. He was bisexual, but in public, this motherfucker acted all neat and straight. Ugh! Disgusting. But in private, the world was our country. He was the president. I was his vice. He was a tall, dark, and handsome man. On some nights, I needed both hands to handle that man. Some people get it. He used to wear this sexy-ass cologne. Everyone knew him by his scent. We'd spend so much time together, it would eventually spill onto me, and people start to say, ooh, you starting to smell like Jack. Whenever I stayed the night at his crib, we used to sneak out. We tried to stay silent, but his door was old. Every time he went to lock it, he made the knob creak with his key, but once we were out, we sneak out to parties, and I always found myself pressing my lips to his neck until that special fluid came flowing up out of him. I guess he just brought out the best in me. Made me more courageous, more spontaneous. He was my ecstasy, and I was addicted to his effect. You see, the way he numbed my pain. Being with him was like working at Adidas. The way he made me feel, I just snorted 3 white lines of that pure cocaine. But one night, Jack's love became too much for me to handle. An overload of sensation face, glued to the toilet, memory going out like a candle. If you haven't caught on, this poem is not about a guy. It's about Jack Daniels. I mean, weren't you listening? I already told you that Jack was a real smooth, old-fashioned type of dude. Everybody wanted a shot with Jack. They used to chase him with smiles. We were inseparable. He was bisexual, but acted neat and straight. So much of his cologne spilled onto me. People starting to say, you starting to smell like Jack. Sneaking out, staying silent. His door was old. Every time he went to lock it, he made the knob creak with his key. Said he made the Knob Creek whiskey, sneaking out to parties, pressing my lips to his neck because he made me more courageous, more spontaneous. He was my ecstasy, addicted to his effect. You see the way he numbed my pain when I wanted to Kurt Cobain, make guns go bang, taking all these shots because I'd rather be drunk than be hung over problems Jack can fix. So I'll trade this frayed noose for a bottle of Grey Goose. Because I'm grieving. And I'm dealing with distilling vodka, be a remedy because Corona took my happy dad. No, truly, I'm drowning in depression, and the only person keeping me from sinking is Captain Morgan. Drunk driving the boat so he can't steer. He's too busy fishing for a buzz, and I'm still hunting beer. I'm loaded, ready to pop my cap tonight, but a nightcap might be the only difference between my family dining under the moonshine peacefully or them whining over my dead spirit. All this to say that I am 3 years sober, y'all. And none of that will be possible without the wonderful support system I have around me, right? That includes all of y'all who came out here tonight. So make some noise for yourselves, y'all. That includes my family and, of course, my wonderful fiancée. Yes, we are getting married in January. Weddings are... Don't clap for that shit. That shit's expensive. Oh, my goodness. TikTok does not pay that much. No, it's been wonderful. We also bought a house. That was wonderful. I've learned so much from living with her, right? I learned so many things. Like, I learned that I am wrong all the time. And even when I'm right, like, was it worth it? Not at all. No. But ever since moving in, her two favorite questions have been, guess what I bought? And do you like it? She has spent so much fucking money. Collecting accessories that I once thought were useless, but now admittedly have come to love. From mason jars to a coffee bar, 17 plants, 3 of which are dying, 8 throw pillows, a decorative French press that we do not use, and a painting on the wall I used to hate, but the first time a friend complimented it, I responded by saying, "It looks nice, doesn't it?" One day, she approaches me in the kitchen and asks, "What do you think our home needs?" And I say, "A gun." She grew so quiet you could hear a shell case drop. I've never known myself to be a violent person. Never felt the need to walk around with a weapon in my possession. I was in the 6th grade when a man turned my school's hallway into a shooting range. The first job I ever worked at was shot up while kids were playing inside in Las Vegas. The city I call home is still home to this country's deadliest mass shooting. I'm saying I've seen what these weapons can do. I'm saying that these memories live inside of my body like a bullet with no exit wound. I'm saying that I've never liked guns. But the first time I ever held one felt a lot like a crucifixion. An attempt to convince myself that putting metal in my hands was the only way I could keep the world safe. Or the day I proposed to my fiancée and put that metal on her hand was the same day I felt the need to put metal in mine. Or I've spent the past 2 years watching her turn our house into a home while trailing right behind her, turning our home into a home front, trying to convince myself of what kind of magazines I should be keeping on the nightstand, trying to figure out all the possible ways I could eliminate a threat. I am constantly on edge, worrying about all the things that could go wrong. Paranoia greets me in the living room every next night, right next to the sleepless nights and anxiety in a mirror that I can no longer see myself in because there are some nights I do not recognize myself. But when she tells me she loves me, her eyes still look at me like they have yet to learn all the ways I'm willing to say I love you back. Her smile reminds me of all the ones I'm willing to take just to keep hers here. Her hands are soft. They are so soft. Proof that not everyone has to walk around with their weapons loaded. And this is the part of love we do not talk about. That part that makes her feel so safe that she has never put a finger on a trigger. The part that reminds us that sometimes we have to buy into the systems we despise the most just to protect ourselves from the systems we despise the most, because we've seen far too many Breonna Taylors to not be Kenneth Walker, too many Ryan Hintons to not be Rodney, too many prayers to not be prepared, because I know that my words won't stop them from busting down the door, so I have to wonder if a pistol will. And this is the part of patriarchy we do not like to talk about, the part where violence is the correct answer, where the only way to keep my fiance warm at night is to burn down the entire fucking world, where minorities are not punished for finally learning how to shoot back. Because what is self-defense if not the way our melanin has learned to interpret masculinity? I'm saying that we do not own guns because we like guns. I'm saying we own guns because there are some white people who love guns far too much in our comfort level. My coach says as long as his oppressors have guns, he will too. My mother says she would rather spend a lifetime in jail than a single night mourning one of her kids. But my fiance says that guns really scare her. And I do not know how to protect her from the monsters outside without asking her to ignore the fangs I'm feeding in our closet. To disregard the claws I've sharpened in our dresser drawer. I remember the first night we slept together. I watched as her eyelids found each other and her dreams shook hands with the creases on her pillowcase. It was terrifying. And so I got out of bed for the third time. Double-checked every single door and window, because I know that I will never be able to truly rest until our home is fully locked and loaded. Thank you. Yeah, moving out it's had its troubles and fears and everything that comes along with it, but I love it so much. I love it. There are some days I do miss living with my family though. I only moved like 10 minutes away from them. In Vegas, you can literally get to like from one end of the city to the other in like 25 minutes. It's not a big place, but still 10 minutes was the hardest thing I ever had to do. I grew up very close with my brothers. We had a very colorful childhood. Any moms with sons in here? Congratulations. Yes, that is wonderful. If you had to describe being a mom to sons in one word, what would you say? Terrifying. It is. And any other words, just shout them out. It is some gangster shit. It is. And we did not give my mom an easy time, right? My brothers and I, we grew up like riding skateboards in the fucking kitchen, bikes in the living room, throwing ninja stars at each other in front of the garage door, shooting each other with BB guns. True story, one time my brother was so mad at me that he broke into the bathroom while I was, showering and pissed all over me. And I'm convinced that is a reason I still have acne to this day. Like, it is. Fuck him, But like, I love him. We used to have this couch that was so just torn in, broken up, indented, and just ripped apart because when we were kids, my brothers and I used to pretend that we were superheroes. We'd stand on top of the couch, wrap blankets around our necks, and use every muscle fiber in our bodies to jump as high as we could. We'd stretch our arms out in front of us like Superman, turn back and say, "Look, Mom, I can fly," to which she responded, "Y'all better get in this kitchen before I beat your ass. I did not cook all day for no damn reason." You see, I've been incredibly blessed to have grown up with two parents that know how to cook really fucking well. Like, when they said there was food at home, there was actually food at home. And I learned so much from them about cooking too. Like, I learned how to grill a steak. I learned to bake a cake. I even learned that if you took a cup full of love, 3 teaspoons of selflessness, a heart of gold, a tear-absorbent shoulder, and seared it until the skin became tough as nails, you would get a mother. Now, if you take that mother, add a pinch of salt, a couple shots of Grey Goose, sprinkle it with some chili powder, a good squeeze of lime juice, a dash of I wish a motherfucker would, and 3 cups full of boy, I brought your ass into this world. Say it with me. I will take your ass. It's music to my ears. It really is. Set the oven in 1976 and let it bake for about 50 years, depending on who you ask, and you will get my beautiful mother. My mother is the best chef I know. She knows how to turn nothing into something and still feed a family of 6. Not even a yoga instructor can make $1 stretch the way she could. She knows how to drain her own blood, pour it through a strainer, collect all the tiny pieces of metal, roll them into balls, smush them into circles, and let them bake in the oven until they turn into pennies. And she repeats this process until she has enough money to buy Christmas presents. She does this little trick where she breaks off tiny pieces of her soul, grinds it into powder, mixes it with her sweat, and rolls it with prayers to make birthday candles. She uses her tears as a lighter fluid and turns her worries into our wishes. Can't nobody cook like my mama can cook. She is the best chef I know because there are days when it's impossible to get out of bed. When eating feels almost as impossible as flying. When depression nails my soul to the floor, and when those days come, she goes into the kitchen and she makes us wings. And she brings back a platter piled high and said, I am not raising boys. I am not raising men. I am raising superheroes. You will get up off this ground. You will stand on top of this couch. You will take these wings and you will fly. You spread your wings to you on a smile that doesn't feel forced honesty behind the phrase, I'm fine. And you know what it feels like to have God run his hands through your hair. Fly. Until you are married. Until you have kids. And so you can look in their eyes and actually know what heaven looks like. And if you search hard enough, you will find happiness there too. When you find it, you tell it, I said hi. You give it a hug for me. And when your wings get tired, you come home. And I ask Mom, why don't you come with us? And she turns so that the stitches on her back are now visible. She smiles and says, who do you think gave you your wings? And every time I stand on the stage, it only feels right to say, look, Mom, I can fly. Flying looks so different to so many people. Flying can be running to someone who has only ever been able to walk. Flying can be walking to someone who's only ever been able to crawl. Flying can be just getting up on the stage and doing poetry. It took a really long time for my mom to accept that. So my mom, she's Mexican, right? And she has like 4 master's degrees, so she's fucking smart. So it took a lot of time for her to actually accept that I was gonna just quit college and just do poetry. Which, like, it's working out cool now. But, like, before, it was, like, she's cool with it now. Like, she came to one of the shows, and she was like, oh, shit, okay, you're popping, you know? But I remember the day that I told her I was dropping out of college, right? It was dope. Listen, so I had to figure out, like, how to tell her without, you know, the whole world fucking exploding. So on Christmas Eve, right? It's the perfect time. No one's going to get, you know? I wrote her a letter, right? And left it on her bed, and I was like, hey, there's a gift for you on the bed. I'm going to head out to my girlfriend, now fiance's house. I'll see you tomorrow. And then I turned off my phone. And I said, I'm going to enjoy my last night on earth. It's going to be phenomenal. And so, yeah, we have a great night. It's cool. Spent it with my fiance's family. Wake up the next morning, turn on my phone. There's about 17,000 messages from my mom and one from my dad. All the ones from my mom are like the ones you would expect. The one from my dad was like, hey, loved your letter. We'll talk soon. Thanks, Dad. This is the type of feedback I like, you know? I walk in. It's exactly as you expected. My brother's fucking pissed because, you know, if the child she's mad at isn't home, everyone else gets collateral, right? It's just, they were pissed at me, and we end up talking. Long story short, my mom's like, hey, you can either go back to school or you can get the fuck out, right? You remember how in the beginning I told y'all I want you to react to this line as if it's like the most popping thing you've ever heard? We're going to do that right now because this was by far the hardest line I responded with, right? She was like, you can either go back to school or you have to get the fuck out. You know what I said? When do you want me out by? I ran so fast. It was... No, so I'm packing, right? My dad is crying. He's like, just take one class. And at this point, I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm leaving. I had no idea where I was going. But I get a call while I'm packing. And my fiance's like, hey, you need to test yourself because my brother just tested positive for COVID. And in like the back of my head, I was like, oh, thank goodness, right? This was at the peak where like you had to quarantine for like 2 weeks. So I tested myself. It was positive. I was like, oh, we bought time. We did, you know? And at that point, my mom stuck with me, you know? So we're vibing. We're butting heads every other day. But for the most part, it was cool. We played games every day. And it was wonderful. And then, you know, everyone started getting better, right? Like, but I just got really sick. And then before I knew it, right, like my dad, he just like stopped coming out of the room. And then all in all, he just like stopped talking. And so my mom, she took him to the hospital. And I remember like right before he went, I told him, I was like, hey, bro, don't fucking leave me with this woman. She will kill me. No, so he was in the hospital. We were texting. And then text just kind of turned into like reactions. And then eventually he consented to being put on a ventilator. My father passed away on February 5th, 2021 at 11:06 p.m. And it broke me in ways that you could not possibly imagine. They say that losing a parent is a lot like losing a piece of your heart that you never get back. But I say it's like literally just your whole world is stopped. And what's so frustrating is that everyone else just keeps going. And you would give anything to just like have someone stop with you. And so I turned to drugs and I turned to alcohol and all these things. And eventually I found poetry, and I found that for like 3 minutes at a time, it felt like the entire world stopped with me to listen, you know? My father was an actor. The first time I saw him on TV was in a movie called 21. He held the door for the main character, smiled, and said his line. To be honest, I've watched this scene 1,000 times, and I still can't figure out what the fuck he was trying to say. But I know that it was one of his proudest moments because being an extra just meant he was extra famous. And even though he didn't make a living from acting, the last time I saw my dad was on a screen. We FaceTimed while he was in the hospital, you know? He said he was coming home soon, that he'd never leave without a proper goodbye, and I don't know if I should call him a liar or a damn good actor because now his EKG looks a lot like his scripts. It's only got one line. I guess the heart monitor, so quiet on set a bit too literally, his lungs. Now the understudy to a ventilator, the ICU CGI'd my father's voice into an answering machine. I left him message after message, and now we're both just sitting here waiting for a call back, but he's too busy acting like he's gonna be okay, and honestly, I can't tell if he's killing this role or if this role is killing him. I did not get to visit my dad when he was sick because the pandemic turned doctors into directors. They told me to go home, stay safe, socially distant. They didn't want this happening again, but they all feel like closed captions because I see exactly what they're trying to say. You see what they really mean. Is that like any disease? He had to have gotten it from someone. And this is the plot twist I never saw coming. My father's blood covers my hands, trickles off my fingers onto the floor, so now everywhere I walk is a red carpet. Every step is a reminder that I'm the one who brought home the disease that made my paparazzi see what they didn't tell you about COVID. It gave birth to a generation of kids responsible for their family's funeral. Meanwhile, I killed my father. And while the whole world was trying to turn his casket into conspiracy, I was chopping down my family tree just to write his eulogy, breaking us at the foundation of what was supposed to keep us whole. He was supposed to come home, but all that came back were his remains, sitting on the shelf like the Oscar he never was, but still, it's a plot he gave his life for, turning heaven into Hollywood. He was a classic man, one of the good fellas, strong as a raging bull, but when his body starts to shudder, I lend my mother my shoulders least because I can't imagine how hard it must be to long for her husband to sing, even when the score says he won't. How can I not feel guilty when every time I look at his urn, all I see is my reflection? Because to be a son, it is to be your father's understudy. It is to know your lines, to play the part, to never break, to be so strong. Just waiting for the day that I can finally look at you, tell you I'm fine, and not be acting. In the years that followed my father's passing, I worked like a maniac. I worked like 2 to 3 jobs, damn near 18 hours a day, just trying to escape something that was inevitable. And I found myself surrounded with like several coworkers who just loved to tell me like how COVID wasn't an issue. I didn't tell them because I wanted them to like eventually feel like an asshole. I was plotting. I really was. I'm like, you just wait until I drop this bomb on you, you know? And, I told them, and they were like trying to argue with me about how my dad died. I fight a lot, I do. But I do have a house that I have to keep. I need these jobs, And eventually, one of these coworkers in particular, she ended up getting COVID as well. And after quarantining, she came back. She was like, and she apologized. She was like, that was the worst experience I've had in my entire life. Like, she was in the ICU, and like, she just had a terrible time. And I learned that a lot of times some people don't respect your story unless they've been through it too. And how dangerous that can be, We don't have to walk in each other's shoes to understand our path, Empathy is so important, especially today. And I think it's even more important that we recognize that even though it's not happening to us, it's still important to call out everything that is wrong. I was diagnosed with asthma in the 3rd grade, a respiratory condition in which the lungs' airways swell, leading to excessive coughing, chest pains, and trouble breathing, all just fancy ways of saying my lungs fucking suck at being lungs. And I learned so much about it too. Like, I learned that the cold air just makes them 10 times worse. So I do my best to avoid the snow, the rain, AC units, freezers, refrigerators, popsicles. Man, I don't even drink ice cold water because ice can make it really hard for me to breathe. Ice can make it really hard for people like me to live. Ice doesn't care if you have a family, or if you're a student, or if you've been here all your life. Ice is killing us. An asthma attack is when the lungs' airways get blocked, pushing all the oxygen out of the body. Eventually, the body no longer has what it needs in order to survive, and this is exactly what we call mass deportation. Almost half of all the farm workers in America are undocumented, so when MAGA says they're stealing all our jobs, I ask, when's the last time you've ever proved you would do the field work yourself? When is the last time you have ever put anyone before yourself? When is the last time you have ever had to say, the last time I hugged my grandmother? My body was a lifeline she held onto with every ounce of home she had left in her hands. And I'm so grateful that she got to leave this earth on the same side of the soil. I am so grateful that we get to live off shared breaths, because in this country, there is no cure for refuge, no inhaler that could save her from the system that is trying to inhale her. Yet still we say, blessed be the broken borders that have kept our families whole. My family is not violent. We do not believe in starting the fights, but we have no problem finishing them. Sometimes, if you want to see a ceasefire, you just gotta remind the world how good you shoot back. And since they don't want to pretend like the laws apply, why do we keep pretending that a badge makes them bulletproof? Like we don't breathe gunpowder, like we don't buck back, cock back, take aim, finger squeeze, trigger bang, we be the big bang. The way we stay making something out of nothing, the way we fold our bodies into prayer, our left hand be creation, right hand be the rapture, because they might dodge the first punch, but they won't see the second coming. Motherfucker, try me. We be the fire that makes them sweat, that makes them tremble, that makes it hard for them to breathe. And don't you see how easily an asthma attack can happen? How quick we become our own oppressors when we are just trying to breathe. I watch melanated bodies dress up in camouflage uniforms every day, as if that would ever get this country to truly see them. But how hypocritical this country is. How hypocritical this country's always been. Because they talk about immigration when there's a fucking felon in office. It's obvious they're worried about the wrong illegal. Must we remind them, history always repeats itself, and that should scare them, because racism always ends in a revolution. Walls always end in demolitions, and ice always melts. My name is Demetri Manabat, y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Thank you so much. Thank you. It has been a dream of mine to come out to the East Coast to perform. So thank y'all so much for helping start that dream. Like I said earlier, I don't have any merch. It's just me. Well, hold on. So if you would like to support, right? I always say this in every feature set. I would not be the poet I am without my wonderful team and my wonderful coach. So huge shout out to my slam team, Penahoro Williams, Johnny Swoops, Ella Hope, Tatiana Orlando, and our wonderful coach, Dr. Javon Johnson. We are a nonprofit, right, in Las Vegas. We are trying to start something that is not currently present in Las Vegas, which is a thriving poetry scene like this. And we need money to do so. So if you would like to support me in any way, you can do that by supporting my wonderful organization, Spotlight Poetry. If you look us up on IG, Spotlight Poetry LV, there should be like a GoFundMe in the bio. So if you do want to support, you can do that. Again, if you're financially able. If you want my Instagram, just come talk to me afterwards. I'll be here for a little bit. And then if you can't do either of those things and you don't feel like talking to me, you can support by continuing to support places like this. That includes buying Poets merch, supporting the vendors, and just showing up, right? Artists like myself would not exist without places like this. So thank you so much to the House of Poets team for having me. Give it up one more time for every poet that has touched the stage. And thank you all so much for coming out. My name is Demetri Manabat. Y'all get home safe.